Good morning, Women in Tech. My name is Amy and I'm taking over this account today. Actually, I said morning, but I totally lied because it is 12:46 p.m. and I just had breakfast. It's been one of those days where you get up and you start getting on calls. My goal today for talking to you guys is to keep it real. I'm gonna be shameless, unabashed, and honest. How often do we get to see all the ins and outs of what it means to really run your whole life as an adult? So that's what I'm gonna do with you guys. I'm also heading into leading a pitching workshop. I work as a life coach and a pitch coach for founders and entrepreneurs. And I'm gonna give you guys some tips on if you guys are pitching for investor money or for new clients. I'm actually running late, so I'm gonna go get dressed and see you guys when we get to WeWork Labs. That's where the pitch workshop is today. Hey guys, sorry for leaving you hanging. I went into that workshop and got completely immersed and engaged and forgot to show it to you. But I did want to leave you with like my top 3 tips for when you're pitching, how you can be more effective and compelling and create an emotional connection with your audience. Because like Maya Angelou said, people will not remember what you said or what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel. Okay, so tip number 1 to create an emotional connection with your audience is use the power of story. We as humans have evolved brains over millennia to listen to stories. Stories have been the way that we passed around information since before we had the printing press or anything else. So when you tell the story, you want to make sure that you take your listeners on an emotional journey. And that might mean that you're feeling those emotions as well when you're telling it. But bring them through this journey that creates tension and then has a payoff so that you release that tension. And hopefully the thing that's building tension is the problem that you're trying to solve in the world. And the thing that releases the tension is your product, which is the inevitable way, the solution to the problem. The second way to make your audience care and to create an emotional connection is to use body language and your voice and tone. That is where we get a lot of the signals for what we're supposed to feel when we're hearing someone speak. Isn't that right? Yes, that's correct. Something that we teach in my workshops is this. Research has been done and we asked, what are the 3 components of communication? And they are content, body language, and voice and tone. Now, I've drawn this amazing graph for you here. I don't know if you can see this. Oh, it's backwards. But one of these accounts for 55% of how communication is passed from one person to another. The second one accounts for 38%. And the third one fills in the remaining, which is 7%. So your guess is which one goes where? When someone is communicating to you, what accounts for the majority of the message that you can get from them, that they can convey to you? And you may have guessed it. Body language accounts for 55%. This big one here, more than half of the communication. 38%, this one here, is voice and tone. So when we're listening to somebody, the majority of what we get from them, what we receive from that communication, is non-verbal. And then 7% down here, weeny, tiny piece of pie, is the actual content, what's coming out of your mouth. Now the follow-up question is, how much of your time do you spend preparing each of these pieces? Ooh. So the second tip is to practice. Practice how you look in body language, record yourself, and practice your voice and tone, because that's going to create a lot of benefit for you when you're actually giving your pitch. And yes, I am now holding a cantaloupe. But the third thing I want to remind everybody of is make a great opening and make a great closing. When you start speaking, command the attention of the room. Start with a hello, then just smile. Maybe not like that, but Make sure that people are listening before you start talking. This is especially important, probably most relevant when you're on stage. And then close. I hear a lot of founders or people who pitch who don't ask for the business. You're up there for a reason. Make a closing and ask for the business. Trying to keep it interesting here for you guys. So hence the outfit change. Okay, but really no, the next thing I want to share with you, because I see this with a lot of women in tech, is how to have confidence, and real confidence. I think as women, we get confronted with a lot of reasons to feel bad about ourselves or to feel like we have to be perfect. And I just want to make sure that as much as possible, we kick that and we have the tools that we need to truly do and actually honor our talent and our gifts. So here are the top 3 things that I hope will help you have killer confidence for whatever you're going to do. The number 1 tip is to hire yourself, or realize you've already been hired, that you are being paid, specifically endorsed to be doing exactly what it is that you're doing. When I was working on Google Pay, Android Pay in Europe, I'd be negotiating and meeting with these really old white men who had a lot more experience than I did, especially in the industry. And I often had to feel like I had to justify why I was in that room representing Google, where I used to work. And one of the things that really helped me was I realized that actually I am the expert on this product, and I am the expert in the room, and I am the expert in this world on this specific product. And Google hired me to be in that room, and they're paying me whatever my salary was to be in that room and to represent those interests. So hire yourself. Realize that you've already done everything that you needed to do to be hired, to be in that room, to represent that interest, and to be the person who is on the other side of that table. And even in a meeting, it's exactly that. You were hired there to share your opinion, your unique perspective. So realize that, and hopefully that'll help. Okay, tip number 2. Sometimes our confidence gets shaky because we're worried about what people think, and we're worried about failing, and we're worried about looking bad or embarrassing ourselves. My number 1 tip for this is to realize it's actually not about you. It's not about you. And I hope that that's a liberating thing, because the moment that we remove the focus from us and ourselves, then when we realize, hey, it's actually not that scary. There's something else at stake. And the thing that's at stake is actually the people that you serve. Whether it's your users and who you build that product for and how much you empathize with why they need exactly what you're building, or the audience that you're pitching to or talking to or educating, tech talk, whatever it is, they're there because they need the education or the information that you're sharing. It's about them. So when you come to the situation as it is an act of service, it's not about me, that immediately, hopefully, should help you get out of your own way and just start serving, putting the attention on people that you're serving. And my last tip for confidence is be okay with being imperfect, and that perfection is an illusion. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm very imperfect. Look at this pimple right here. It's been there forever. I've got a lot of concealer on. Hey, this is what Women in Tech. I'm keeping it real. I told you I would keep it real today. Okay. And like, I'm okay with that. I don't care. I'm going to have pimples. I have skin. It's summer in New York. You know, I'm probably going to get pimples from wearing this hat tomorrow. I don't know, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. What I'm here to do is to bring my energy and to share and to do justice to the work and the people that I'm serving. And this is not going to get in my way. And how you react to these things that are in your life or how other people will react. And by the way, how good did it feel to not have to be perfect and to call it out? And by the way, you sharing your imperfections or you're okay with being imperfect allows other people to feel that way too. And by doing that, we create a culture where we're not so hard on ourselves. We're probably the hardest on ourselves out of anybody in the world. So if we can take that pressure off ourselves, then hey, maybe we can make it easier for everybody else. All right, guys, it's midnight here in New York. We just got back from this amazing concert, but I realized I didn't leave you guys with my top career tips, things that I wish I knew when I started my career 13 years ago. So, number one is this. Find somebody to work for that's going to mentor you and teach you and help you grow. I think that was probably, in my case and in my friends' cases, the biggest acceleration for any of our careers. A mentor, a boss, an advocate, somebody that you can follow and who you can learn from. My number two tip is to work on rocket ships. So things that are growing, markets that are growing, whether that's a product or a company or department within your company, but some area that's going to do well within the company, because as that area does well, then the responsibilities will grow, the recognition will grow, and so will your responsibilities because you were part of it, and you can always leave that on a high note. You have a stock that's soaring, and that just helps in general with your own rocket ship growth. And the third thing is to always do things that you personally love and connect with, because even if they seem random at the time, if you get energy from doing it and you are developing yourself and your skill set and chasing what you naturally are drawn to, then a story will emerge at the end. And disparate things create creative connections. As it's the most famous kind of Steve Jobs, taking calligraphy course at Reed College and realizing that fonts and design were important for his PCs. So follow your interests and your hobbies, because they will make you you, and we will find a way to tell that story as a strength in the future. Okay? Thank you again so much for having me. I wish you all the best, and go Women in Tech!